Right. And then you always get the guys that, I should say, you also get the guys that will break their cymbals down on stage.
Right.
Pull their cymbals off
Yeah.
the stands and take the tom off and then walk that off stage.
Yep.
And
The lollygaggers.
Yeah. Wrap up all your cables before you put them in your guitar case before you can go off stage.
Right.
Yeah. And
we got 5 bands tonight. Let's go.
Well, and that's the thing. Let's come back to metal. See, now this is what really starts to differentiate the type of artist. Now, when you're in a metal band, I mean, a lot of these artists don't know what it's like to be on a 5-band show.
Right.
Like you're gonna have 5 bands in like 3 hours,
Right.
And we've done that. That's the industry, right?
Right.
So
we got 15-minute changeovers, and we're changing over drum sets and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. And the drum sets are big.
Right.
That's why I play 4-piece.
Go.
Right. Makes it easier.
Nice. Yeah, I see a big change. Tell us about that. I'm just noticing. I haven't paid a lot of attention, but you talk about like older era setup, right? And you had like the 6 toms, and you had the double bass.
Right.
You didn't have the double
drum
pedal.
kit from
You
here
brought
to
in
Gibraltar.
two kick drums.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So what happened? What's going on? Is that it? Is it just?
I think a lot of drummers still want to use all of that.
Okay.
It has its place for sure. For me personally, it's just whether it be playing at open mics or doing a show where you got to share a drum set. Your muscle memory. If I have 2 rack toms versus 1,
right,
and if I'm used to 2 and then I show up and I got to play on 1, now I'm thinking, and that's the worst thing you can do while you're playing.
Right.
So over the years, I've just kind of found a setup that is a kind of happy medium to where if I get on a different kit, I can still play it somewhat comfortably.
Yeah. And so now tell me your setup. You got a floor tom. You got a snare.
I got a snare, rack tom, floor tom. Kick with a double pedal, hi-hat, 2 crash, ride, China.
That is
sometimes a splash. It's like
that's actually the kind of kit that I
simple.
want to get. I also have a tom floor, and I just have 1 crash, but because I can't afford another one yet.
Well, and that's.
But I'm not a drummer.
and now for
it's been 20 years of building.
Right. Yeah. And you talk about logistics. It's easier to fit in the car now, right?
Yep.
Setup time is faster.
The sound guy likes it more when
Sure.
you have half the drums.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I just saw a video of a sound guy approaching a drummer, and he's like, "So, all right, how many drums we got?" "Yeah, I got a 9-piece." Why?
Right.
Well, we were talking about those multiple band bills, and you got so much time for changeover.
Exactly.
When Conniption was starting out earlier on, we did a lot of shows like that at the rave.
Oh, sure.
And it was always like I'd kind of be either standing back or just setting my stuff up, and I'd always hear like other drummers or other bands it'd be like, where's the rest of his kit? Look at that little kit, and kind of knocking it,
right.
And then after our set, they'd be like, "Oh wow, you really tore up that little kit." It's I never said it to anybody, but some of them, it's like, well, you only played half of yours.
Right.
So,
exactly.
If you're going to have all that, play it, and that's great.
Yeah.
Because it does look cool on stage.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to have something on stage that I'm not going to use.
Exactly.
Right.
And used properly, those big kits can, like Danny carry a tool. He uses every piece of that thing.
Absolutely.
But,
he doesn't set it up.
On the same token, the guy from Killswitch Engage has a small kit, but the size of the drum sound doesn't come from the size of the kit. It's the player.
Yeah.
It's all the player.
Yeah.
Well, and in the studio versus live, in the studio, I might add another floor tom.
Sure. That's the point of the
I've done
studio.
it with 2 rack toms before, but just because how I normally set it up, I'm a little bit more comfortable with 1 rack tom.
Right.
So I'll usually add it on the floor. But yeah, some of the albums that we've done, I've recorded with 4 toms. Just to get more
added.
Some depth.
And that's the point of the studio, is to take it as far as
you can do it.
you
Whatever
possibly
you
can.
want in the studio.
Yeah, do whatever you want in the studio. Figure out how to play it live later.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How long have you been doing that setup?
The setup, the 4-piece that I currently have, at least the last 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like a Ringo style, just basic setup.
Yeah.
and it works for me.
I'm seeing
A lot of
I'm
drummers.
talking on YouTube.
Yeah.
This is recent though that this changed. And here I'm hearing that you've been doing this for a while, and it's so crazy. Like you talk about perspectives and filling expectation, right? And so you have the other drummers during that era 10 years ago, and they're like, "Man, that doesn't look right. Like, what are you doing?"
Right.
And now it's like the mainstream. It's becoming more of the mainstream. It seems
Yeah.
because I'm seeing some pretty big metal drummers that are running with that same rig, but I'm talking an evolution
Right.
that is recent. They literally went from the full kit and switched it up to a smaller, like they got the floor tom and one little tom.
Yeah.
And so that's, man, maybe we're influencing people and we don't even know it.
Could be.
Copycats.
Yeah.
We need to trademark this thing, man.
Right on. Yeah.